Next, let's look at how to download, install, and activate MetaLogic's Information Manager. The process for installing and activating is slightly different for on-premises versions of SharePoint than it is for Office 365, so we'll deal with each in a separate video. So this first video considers installing on Office 365. So there are two ways to do this in Office 365. The first is just to install the app from the App Store, and the second is to deploy it to the tenant. So let's consider those each. So firstly, let's consider installing the app directly. So for this, we go to the site we want to use, MetaLogic's Information Manager, and we click on the sprocket and go down to Add an App. So from here, I'm going to click on the SharePoint Store, and I'm going to search for MetaLogic's. And you see in these search results there we have MetaLogic's Information Manager. So if I click on this and click on Try It, or if I was purchasing, I'd click on Buy It. So I'll click on Try It to try for free and click Continue. And this is now going to install and add this app to my site where I was working before, which was the engineering site. So I click Return to Site. I'm going to click Trust It to trust the app. And that's now being installed. You see it's currently gray, and when it's completely installed, it takes a couple of minutes. That will be then fully colored in and ready to use. So now the application is installed and ready to use. You see it's no longer grayed out. So if I go back to the library I was working in, documentation, you'll see I now have the Information Manager installed in the toolbar here, and I can start to use some of these functions. So that's how to install Information Manager from the App Store. So next, let's look at how to download the Information Manager app and deploy it to the tenant. So in order to do that, firstly, we need to download the app from the MetaLogic's website rather than the App Store. So we go to this URL. And that's going to prompt us to download the app. So if I go and show that in the downloads folder and just copy that to my desktop so I know where it is. So next I need to deploy it to my tenant. So in order to do that, I need to go into my tenant and go to Admin. And then on the left under Admin Centers, we expand that out and click on SharePoint. And on the left, we click Apps. And then we click App Catalog. Now, if you haven't created the App Catalog already, you may be prompted to create a new App Catalog in this stage. So I've already created an App Catalog, called it MetaLogic's App Catalog. So on the left, I need to click on Apps for SharePoint. And then I would click New and browse and go to the Information Manager app we've just downloaded, click on Open and click on OK. And that will then deploy the app to your tenant. I've already deployed it previously, so I'm going to skip that step. Now that it's deployed to the tenant, I can add it to a site. So I'm going to go into Essentials and find a site in the navigator. So this one here, the legal site. I'm going to right click and choose a view in the browser. And from here, I'm going to click on the sprocket and click Add an App. And on the left here, I'm going to click Apps from my organization. And you see there's the MetaLogic's Information Manager app we just deployed. So I can click on this. And click Trust It. And that's now going to install in my site. You see it's grayed out at the moment. Again, it takes a little time to install, but when that's fully colored in, no longer grayed out, it will be ready to use. So now you can see that's no longer grayed out, it's ready to use. So now if I go to one of the libraries in this site, you'll see that Information Manager is now available as part of the toolbar, so I can start using it to classify, copy and move documents. So finally, in terms of activating your Information Manager application once it's installed, if you go to Site Contents and then click on the application, when it loads in this view, and this is the same whether it's installed via deploying to the tenant or via the App Store, you have this button here, License Manager. So you click on that button, enter your activation code and click close, and that will activate your license for Information Manager. So that's how to download, install and activate Metalogic's Information Manager when working with Office 365.